Welcome to a exciting episode of the Shrouded Realities, making a little Shrouded Realities history with our first guest host of our short existence. What are we, 15 episodes in?
This would be 15.
15, yeah. Number 15. That's a big one.
It's a big 15.
It's like an anniversary.
Yeah, so high school reunion.
Yeah, so hearing your voice, Adam, our buddy Adam, he's a fellow thinker. If you're listening to us on Spotify without any video, the best description of Adam would be Billy Gibbons having a baby with Brad Pitt.
That's right.
Brad Pitt. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're a pretty bearded man.
Yeah, I wouldn't do good in prison. I can tell you that. I'm too pretty for prison. So.
Yeah, that's gross.
Ladies, definitely get on the YouTube. You're gonna like it.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
It's gonna make us look more like Toby's.
Yeah, we're just stumped up Toby's. That's
stumped
all.
up. We're tobed up.
Y'all are all unique in your own special little way.
Wow.
That's what we call it. We're Toby's.
That's what the pretty people say.
Yeah, we give him a great intro like that, and he's like, "Y'all are all unique."
You guys are.
Felt like middle school back when I was trying to hit on a girl. Hashtag friend zone.
Y'all ever get the hot no?
I think of you like a brother.
I think of you like a brother. I have heard that one. You're like a brother to me. It'd be weird.
I seen a meme that said, "What's the worst that can happen?" She says no, and then it says you. You would be worse.
You.
Yep.
We're gonna get deep. I'm glad we brought in a fourth host today because it's
We're gonna need it.
We're gonna need it. We're gonna talk about the sons of God, little g gods of the Bible. Who are they? What are they? Where they came from? Is it a thing?
Yeah.
I definitely think it's a thing.
Well,
I gotta say something.
depends on who you ask.
Really quick because it's bugging me. You got a dryer sheet hanging out from your shirt. There. Now I can get back. Now I can get back at it.
It takes the static out of the room.
Y'all are welcome.
Tell me you got a new baby at home without
No joke.
telling me you got a new baby at home.
No joke.
No joke. So little g gods. So most of this show, it started with Genesis 6, verse 4, and that's kind of where the little g gods come in first. Let me get that pulled up real quick. But yeah, it's that's where we get the Nephilim talk. That's where we get the
first word, sons of God.
Sons of God was the
of
first
God.
introduced in there.
So you've got the Son of God,
Yep.
which is Adam.
Big S. No,
No,
No.
Jesus.
that'd be Jesus.
And then you got the sons
Yep.
Yep.
God.
Which is interesting.
The fallen.
There's multiples.
Yeah.
The fallen. Correct?
Yeah.
Well, not all necessarily. We'll get into some of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I bet we're gonna touch back on the first episode and this episode a little bit
We'll
from
have
from
to.
the first
We're gonna
episode.
dance around a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different directions to go with this.
I'll start out with Genesis 6:4. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward. Got a thought on that? I'm gonna circle back to that one.
Okay.
When the sons of God, little s, sons of God, came into the daughters of man, and they bore children to them, these were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. So, to me, sons of God in this one were the fallen angels, the watchers.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I'm
The
at.
Yep.
Enoch watchers.
The Enoch Watchers.
Yes.
So, seeing that this is so early in the creation of humanity, it would tell me that the sons of God lived in heaven before any of this ever happened.
Yeah. Timeline wise, I would say that's right. Yeah.
Then before creation, before anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were there. They were existed with God.
Part of the, what did you call it? The
Oh, wow.
assembly of
The council?
council. Yeah, you had a fancy word for it.
The great.
That's very Star Warsy.
The divine council?
There it
The
is.
divine
Yeah.
Okay.
council.
That is
It does sound kind of Star Warsy. The Senate.
the Senate.
The Senate of the Sons.
The Senate of the Sons. That sounds good. I
Yeah.
like that.
So yeah, there was what chapter? Where was that at? Where it was talking about the council?
A lot of places. What kind of drew me to it was Psalms 82. Man, I've got so many notes over here. I'm going to be digging through notes. Psalms 82, 1 through 8. God presides in the great assembly. He renders judgment among the gods, little g. How long will you defend the unjust and show partiality to the wicked? Defend the weak and the fatherless, uphold the cause of the poor and the oppressed, rescue the weak and the needy, deliver them from the hand of the wicked. The gods, little g, know nothing. They understand nothing. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I said, you are gods, little g.
Mm-hmm.
You are all sons of the Most High, but you will die like mere mortals. You will fall like every other ruler. Rise up, O God, judge the earth, for all the nations are your inheritance. That last verse is interesting.
Yeah.
Because it kind of contradicts itself, does it not? They will die with nothing, but they, what does it say? They rule what?
Well, as of right now, they have already received their inheritance, according to what this says.
Yeah.
And they're going to be judged
So these
and die.
these fallen angels, these sons of God,
Yep.
was given when the nations were split up at the Tower of Babel.
Yes.
They were split up. These sons of God were given reign over the tribes.
Yes.
This is all
Over the nations.
Over the nations.
and this is all Old Testament stuff.
Deuteronomy 32, 7 and 8
Yep.
really gets into that. So let's back up a touch.
Yep.
This is all a Michael Heiser. That's where I think we've all been living a little bit.
I
Has
think
been in
so,
that Michael
too.
Heiser
Yeah.
world. A Deuteronomy 32 worldview is what he calls it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think we've all, at least me, I've been living completely in that. And he ties these things together way better than the now 4 idiots that sit in this room. So definitely we'll drop some stuff on some Michael Heiser. Y'all need to watch it. It's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
I'll
information.
put links. You're reading, Stephen. You're reading the book, The Unseen Realm.
Yeah,
Super
I've
deep.
seen the words.
I found a YouTube documentary. It's just an hour long.
Yeah.
And it's solid. I watched it today.
Man,
It's
I've,
deep, but it's solid.
I've been like, I think I'm on chapter 20 and I've still got 10 hours left
Of
in
the
this
book.
book.
Oh my
Good. It
goodness.
is huge. Trying to understand where, I mean, he's tying things together everywhere. It's
Yeah.
hard to
Is
understand.
it like borderline schizo?
No,
Is it-
it's all conscious. I mean, it's not crazy stuff. It's just a lot of information.
And to me, all this stuff, I haven't read the book yet, but I've been kind of following the same path and watching the YouTube videos and seeing a lot of commentary and podcast episodes where he was a guest. To me, it makes a lot of the questionable stuff make sense.
It does.
If you have that background knowledge of the sons of God, who they are, what it looks like in heaven and on earth, it kind of makes all those stories that you just kind of gloss over because you don't really get, especially with the tribes and Tower of Babel. It makes make sense.
Well, and there's some contradicting things in the Bible that actually do make sense once you understand it from this view. One is the Bible doesn't say other gods are real. I mean, there are verses that say that other gods are not real. There's only one God. But then there's also verses like Exodus 15:11, who among the gods are like you, Lord, who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in glory, working wonders. So that's indicating that there are other gods. There's
Or is that just saying from the person's perspective that they think that there's other
that's
gods?
kind of what I'm
You
getting
know
at.
what I mean?
Lord, the God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven, above or on earth below. You who keep your covenant with love with your servants who continue wholeheartedly in your way. Yet again, referencing other gods.
So there would be a hierarchy of gods. We got Big G God, main God, created all. He created the sons of God, which sat in his council, lived with him in heaven. Most of them probably still do. Most, some.
I don't know. I have no
Really
idea
don't
on
know.
that.
But we do know some of them descended to heaven because of Genesis 6 in the book of Enoch.
You mean some of them descended to earth?
To earth, correct?
Yeah. 200 is what said.
Okay.
200.
The 200 were the fallen.
They
With the
came-
Mount Hermon event. They
Yeah.
come down and they brought all the knowledge with them to
What
and
else?
that.
What else did they do?
Huh?
What else did
Oh,
they
they
do?
got busy.
They had a,
They saw these women and they said, you know what?
Hey,
We're
girl.
sitting up here in heaven.
Hey, girl.
We can't do nothing.
So that
So we can go down there and we can create. We can be like God.
So
that was
It's original sin, right?
that made me have a thought, and I have no idea, just speculating. Does that mean we are going to have free will when we get in heaven? They obviously had free will to make a bad choice.
I think free will is inherent in
Everything.
creation, period. Because without it, what's the point? You know, God, in my opinion, get off on the God thing here. In my opinion, God wants us to choose Him. But He also gives us the option not to, so that we can, you know, we can go which way we want to go.
Yeah.
But He wants us to choose Him.
Even the angels in heaven have that choice.
I believe so.
It gives us that choice also.
Mm-hmm. I believe so. And they, you know, they they looked at Adam. Adam had Eve.
Yeah.
Adam was able to create life, you know, by you know, having children with Eve. They were in heaven. They couldn't do that. They're looking down. They're thinking, well, why does Adam get to do this when we've been here this whole time? Why can't we do this? So I think that.
So you think they were envious of what?
I think they
what
were
God
envious.
gave
I
us?
think, and then again, that goes along. Hey, you know, no tears in heaven thing. You know, it's not supposed to be any of that. But all of that before Christ, before the creation of man and things like that, there had to be something different. You know, that was going on.
I also
Something
wonder-
changed somewhere.
I wonder of this council too. I mean, I doubt that heaven is split up into different chambers per se, but like, would our heaven be different than their heaven that they're experiencing? You think?
See, I was thinking about that today. The ones that are there, and like when we die and we go to heaven, how is it going to be different? Are we going to have a different viewpoint than the spirits of the angels that were there?
Because
and
we've
have
got
been there.
Because we've got different
A
experience.
different experience, or are we going to be completely wiped and have no recollection?
I mean, it is said
this
that we're
life?
not going to remember anybody when
Yeah.
we get into heaven. We won't remember anybody.
Yeah.
So
Did it say that?
I don't know where it says.
we won't remember the names of the ones. Something about we won't remember the names of the ones who weren't.
Well, if there's not going to be any sadness or sorrow there, then we can't. In a way, in my opinion, we're not going to remember them, because then we'd be looking for our cousin or our brother or our best friend from the 5th grade, and you know, be like, well, where are they at? Well, they didn't make it. Oh, you know.
It's like even the thought of like imperfection couldn't be in heaven. So like you couldn't remember.
I think your focus is going to be different than what our earthly focus is right now. And on Earth, yes, you've got the focus of the relationships you have here, but you're not going to be focused on your relationships you have here. Your focus is God at that point, because you're there.
Yeah.
I mean, you made it.
That's one that I really don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah.
You know.
So if our listeners hadn't figured out yet, today's going to be a think piece.
Yeah, we're going to be.
We're probably going to be talking out
We're
of our butt a
probably
lot.
going to be wrong about a lot.
Yeah,
Just so
there's
y'all know.
way more questions than answers here.
Yeah. So do your own research.
Yeah.
I'll try to
means.
drop some key verses in this that I've found that make me kind of lean to one side, but definitely do your own research, because there are academics that definitely disagree with this worldview a lot.
Yeah, even Michael Heisner said he had a lot of pushback and lost friends over what he believed. And
It's really over the change of Deuteronomy. It's how you read Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
It changes everything if you read Deuteronomy 32 differently. There's different translations, and
so I'll
how
read
that
the
translation is
You know
kinda
where
where you're at.
Deuteronomy falls in the chronological order?
not really.
You know, because the Old Testament's kind of out of order. If you go back and you do it, do the chronological side, the stuff falls in.
Did Moses write this?
Yeah.
I think he
Stuff
did.
falls in
Moses was in there.
pre-flood.
So I'll read the ESV version, Deuteronomy 32, 7 and 8. And there's one key difference in this one. I'll go back and read the other translation. But verse 7, remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask your father, and he will show you, your elder, and they will tell you. When the Most High gave to the nations their inheritance, interesting, when he divided mankind, he fixed the borders of the people according to the numbers of the sons of God. All right, so
That the nations we're talking about,
that's the
The nations were
and
divided
the nations were divided
by
amongst
the number
the number of the sons of God. So
Okay.
that tells me that there is a set number of sons of God. They're not infinite. They're not more or less. at the time that this was written, when the Tower of Babel was happening, the nations were split up to the number of the sons of God. So however many sons of God there were, that's how many nations was created.
Mm-hmm.
So here's where it gets interesting. So that was ESV version. I'm going to read the New King James Version real quick. Let me see if I can get to it real quick. It might be just in the King James Version too.
I think most translations read this way.
Okay, so I won't read the whole thing, but the interesting part that changed, and this is what causes the contention. He set the bounds of the people according to the numbers of the children of Israel. It doesn't say sons of God; it says children of Israel.
And that is a completely different reading of the translation there.
Michael Heisner's argument on this one was that this is an incorrect translation because at the time of the writing, Israel wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
So he thinks that King James incorrectly translated that part.
Yeah,
Do you want to go into
few of
the
those.
Elohim?
That's in Psalms 82, so we're kind of backing up a little bit. But so I'm using someone else's translation, Michael Heiser's stuff here. But he broke down a lot of that Psalms 82. So I'm going to break it down, just verse 1. God has taken his place in the divine council. In the midst of the gods, he holds judgment. So if you look in that verse, God has taken place in the divine council. Big G God is the first God there. That translates to Elohim. God is Elohim in the Hebrew.
Yep.
So has taken his place is referring to a singular Big G God. His is one. So Elohim can be used kind of like deer.
Okay.
So
Or moose and meese.
yeah, moose and meese. Moose and meese is pretty similar, but it's kind of like deer. Depending on the sentence, it can mean one deer. It can mean multiple deer.
Okay.
So the first in that,
I
God
like how
has
you
taken his
simplified
place.
that for us. That was
Yeah, you're welcome.
Tell it to me like I'm 5.
that's. I mean, that's
Some
why he's
people
in
don't-
that seat right
Yeah,
there.
that's why I'm sitting right here.
Yeah.
So in the midst, this is still verse 1. In the midst of the gods, he holds his judgment. So that is little g gods, which still translates to Elohim in the Hebrew. So little g gods, plural, in the midst. So the sentence would then say that there are multiples of those in that verse right there. So Elohim used in the same verse, one singular, one plural, but they both mean the same, different, but the same.
Yeah.
If that makes
It
sense.
just it just depends on
Yeah.
the context of the paragraph.
It makes, completely. You've got to have the context of each one of those just lines in that verse, singular, plural. So that is saying that there are multiple gods or sons of God that exist and that are in this divine council that he is giving judgment to in this right here. That would be after Tower of Babel.
Gotcha.
So he's bringing them up there saying, hey, guess what? Y'all didn't do good here.
Yeah.
So y'all are all going to die like humans.
Like
Yeah.
dogs.
And,
Yeah. Which
and if
then
you're going to
shows-
worship a god, you're going to worship this bad one that's not going to be as good as the god.
Yep. So the argument with this is, and people argue Psalms 82 in a lot of different ways, and if you look in commentaries and sermons that people preach on that, there's some that say that he has idols that he's giving these, judgments to, or
Yeah.
he's given people in power on earth, humans, this judgment, but he doesn't have a idol in his council. And it says right there that they're in his council. He doesn't have Jewish rabbis in his council because they're not in the skies. And it clearly says right there that that's where they are.
Yeah.
So that would indicate that there are gods that have inherited nations.
Okay, so
according to that.
So having that information and knowing what we know from Genesis 6 and from our talk on the Book of Enoch, Connor, do you think that the gods, the false gods and like the Ten Commandments and Baal and Moloch and stuff like that, do you think that they're actual beings that were here on earth, or how do you think that worked?
Like between being real or just being just a wooden statue of something.
Yeah.
I mean, people took them way too serious for them to not be real. I would think they're killing, like, especially Moloch. I mean, you're killing a child to what, a wooden statue or a concrete statue.
Yeah,
like
they
that
were-
didn't seem like it's the distance of reality there. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't see that not being fake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're not just gonna kill your kids for a
Like there was
for a rock.
like there was some significance, some real
Tangible.
Tangible.
You were getting something.
yeah.
Well, biblically, they made fun of idols. I mean, they said, these are garbage. Why are y'all doing this, basically? But according to Heiser, and I'm going to reference him a lot, they actually perform a ritual to open the mouths of whatever idol they have to bring a spirit into that idol. And let's just say Ruby is getting it right now.
Don't worry.
I hope y'all can hear her.
She's got the spirit of sleep in her.
She has got the spirit of, sleep inside of her right now. That is incredible. But
Daggum subwoofer right here. Get a subwoofer.
I get it because she's a
Dog
dog.
joke.
Children.
We were talking like the deepest subject.
Yeah,
of
we
the
were,
Bible today.
I'm talking about bringing spirits into idols, and then we're just straight up in.
Was
Hey, my
she-
dog's snoring.
Oh, hey. Okay, good. I thought she farted.
Oh, you would know it if she
Oh,
farted.
yeah, I was-
She'll clear this room
open,
out.
open that window over there.
That's right.
I'll read. So, kind of playing off of that question and that subject. Were the sons of God good or evil? Given that they started out in the council of God, I say yes. They started out that way. We know from Genesis 6 and Enoch that some of them separated, descended. I want to say the ones that were on earth were inherently evil.
I'm going to agree with that.
Yeah.
As soon as they hit the ground, they just started basically destroying the seed,
yeah,
the line,
seed wars.
the lineage from
So tell
Adam
me how this
to
would work. I mean,
Christ.
if you're in, would you say in perfect union with God in this council? Do you think that is that a good way to say it?
I don't think they were in perfect union. I think they were an advisory type position, wasn't they?
That's really hard to say, because you're talking about,
Like,
yeah. So people have said that. I don't know where I stand on that completely, because how do you advise somebody that knows everything?
And how would anybody know, even the writers of the Bible,
Yeah,
know that? I mean, they could have been giving it to them in a vision,
sure.
and it could have been an inspired word.
But that's
I
not
don't know.
is there
discussed
an
either.
accordion in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, they. Just how
Why
would,
would,
how
why
would
would
they
the
know?
creator of the universe need a council to advise him on anything?
It may not necessarily be a need. So
Well, because they were his sons, though. Think about your kids. Like,
Yeah.
you would. It would be different.
So it would be
but-
more like a passing of knowledge or
I don't think it's a passing of knowledge. So
because they
one thing
knew.
I've heard described is God will say, hey, this thing needs to get done, and he will tell people to go do it. Now, he may not tell them how to get something done. He'll just say, this has to be done.
Okay, so
like
and
divine
he will-
intervention now, but then it was
I got something for you on that.
Okay.
Job,
Yep.
first and
That's
second
where I
chapter.
was
Yeah,
coming from there. Yep.
they we all know the story of Job. He was tested.
It's a rough deal.
Rough deal for Job.
Golly, he had it rough.
oh yeah, worst of the worst.
So I'm going to read just not go into the whole story of Job, but I'm going to read verses 7 and 8 specifically because that's where the sons of God were talking about. Oh crap! I need to change translation. 1 second. ESV.
The these and thous of
Yeah. All right. So we're going to go
King James.
ESV version. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. So the sons of God were able to go back and forth between heaven and earth.
Yep.
All right. Satan went with them also. Now, I find it interesting that Satan was mentioned separately there.
Mhm.
But so I don't know where that makes him fit in the old sons of God, fallen angel scenario.
Yeah.
But he was obviously separated. He was obviously a different entity. Second verse said, the Lord said to Satan, from where have you come? Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro on the earth and from walking up and down on it. So Satan was down on earth for sure. And the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? And anyway, from then on, they get to talking about
So after
testing
he
Job.
was cast out, he was allowed to travel back and forth?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Is that what that's saying?
And it says
Biblically so,
says it again in the second chapter.
Wow.
Yeah, the exact same words. It was a different test scenario for Job, but the exact same scenario. So him and the sons of God.
So were they all running around together?
Don't know.
Do you think that they were the ones, the third, that were cast out with him?
Possible. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't tell us one way or the other there.
And we know that Satan was cast out before the creation of man, correct? Because he was on the earth and he
had to
was
have
like
been,
the guardian of the garden.
And he had to have been because he was there with Adam and Eve.
Mm-hmm. He was there with them in serpent form.
Yeah.
So when that doesn't line up chronologically, because if the fallen the watchers had been cast out with him, then they would not have looked upon man and seen the creation and lusted after them like they did. So that would have been a separate group of guys.
My brain's breaking already.
Yeah, this is such a tough subject.
Yeah.
This is just, it spans all of time, actually.
It's a spiral.
Forever.
Yeah,
Unlimited. It's
like
infinite.
literally all of time up
Yeah.
until this point
Yeah.
that we're talking about right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're probably getting a lot wrong, but we're just talking.
There's so many rabbit holes right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me just interject.
Rein us in.
Does this explain Greek mythology?
I wonder about that, because with the DNA
And Egyptian.
tampering that they were doing, and they were creating all the little different, creatures and stuff on Earth, because when Noah was told to gather the animals for the ark, he was told to gather one of each kind, or one of their kind, and it was supposed to be the purest form, the non-tampered form, and that's why Noah.
Two of each kind.
Two of each
Two of each kind, of their own kind. That's why Noah was chosen, because he was sought to have a pure bloodline, and a pure bloodline passed down to his sons that would carry the seed that would go to Christ inevitably.
So that brought up my point I brought up earlier when we were talking about before and after in Genesis 6. I was wondering how that happened. We talked about how the Nephilim bloodline carried through Noah if it got reset
That is
right there.
so
It would be through
controversial.
Ham,
Okay.
is what everybody says.
I thought it was sham.
And we talked about that maybe
Ham, that's what I've heard.
maybe
I don't know.
the Nephilim genetics carried through the daughters.
Yeah.
The girls that married his sons. But it could have been possible that the
Second recurrence, is that what you're thinking?
angels came back down again after.
I've heard that be discussed
That would be pretty
too.
dumb if you were the guys that watched, and then you're like,
Let's do it again.
"Yeah, let's do it again." That worked out pretty good.
Really, really, you think they're that much smarter than we are? I mean,
No,
they
I
fell.
get what
They
you're
fell
saying.
from heaven.
They made the bad decision to begin with.
They were thinking with the little G Godhead and not the.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Jeez.
But I mean,
So,
Sorry,
I
bro.
understand.
we've all made that mistake, right? So,
For real.
for real. But I mean, if you just saw people get cast under the earth in jagged rocks
bind in chains to
Bind and
live and be
change.
persecuted till
till Judgment Day,
Judgment Day. Yes.
and then it's like, man, is it
We're like,
worth it
they're
though?
probably like, I know what they did wrong.
Yeah, I know how to.
Hey.
I know how to get around this.
Yep.
Yeah,
There's a
Bad
loophole. There's a
idea.
loophole.
yeah.
that's a socialistic mindset at its greatest, right
There
there.
it
We
is.
can do it better.
But getting into the Greek mythology and all that, I kind of wonder if that's where it says men of renown in Genesis. I
Yeah.
kind of wonder if that's where you get some of the Hercules. That's where you get some of those, and those stories were passed down. Because it says that they were there before and after. Was that were these people considered gods in that time? Because they're giants. I mean, they're huge.
And then when they did die, because they were told they were going to die like the rest of us, when they did die,
They were idolized and worshipped.
they were idolized, and then their spirit was able to be conjured up through idol worship.
Yeah.
And maybe supernatural stuff was able to be done, and that's why they kept their God status on Earth. I'm doing air quotes, God status.
Well, I mean, we've already discussed that it's a disembodied spirit at that point, right? That's on the earth.
Yeah.
We've already said the Nephilim that died, we don't know that, but that's our opinion that it could be that way.
We just know that they were bound to earth as evil spirits.
Right.
Biblically, that's what it says.
Is that biblically or is that Enoch?
That was in.
Enoch.
That's Enoch.
You sure?
Yep. Pretty confident in that.
Okay.
I don't want to tell people that that's biblical.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
think that's biblical.
Because it didn't.
That we're in opinion mode
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
That brings up another conversation. Let's do a plug real quick, and we'll bring
Yeah,
that
it's
back
time
up.
for a plug. We need to chill out and figure
Circle
ourselves
wagons
out
here.
Reset,
Yeah.
yeah. So everybody go check out our stuff. Got merch. Wearing a shirt right now. ShroudedRealities.com, where you find it all. You can find links to our stuff.
I've got my converted.
Yep, we got stickers.
Did y'all know that you can put these things anywhere?
Anywhere.
It's a kind of a big deal.
Put it
We
on
got
your
this nice
laptop.
sticker. You can put it on your car. You can put it on your baby's forehead. You can put it anywhere.
You can cover your logo on your shirt.
That's right.
Yeah.
Some people do it.
I've heard about it being done.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that it's the
It's
best
a one-time
idea,
use
but
at that point, but I mean, hey, that's why you get 5.
And if it sounds like we're begging, it's because we are.
It's
Yes.
kind of because we have to.
Because we're broke as a joke, and we would like to buy things to make this show better.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're trying to improve. Saying all that, everybody subscribe,
Yep.
share it with a buddy. We really want to bring a bunch of people together in this.
I kind of want y'all to hate watch this, honestly, but that's
Hate
just me.
watch
Just
It'll
yell,
gain more ground. Won't it?
yell at
Yeah.
us.
That's probably it. We haven't been controversial enough.
Yeah.
Saying we didn't land
Tell
on the
us
moon.
why we're stupid.
Yes. Over and over and over again.
That's right. Spam it.
Spam it. But yeah, check us out. We got Patreon going. We got good content up. We release
That's subjective.
good content.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that's
Yeah.
subjective.
Just say content.
We have
How
content.
many episodes do y'all have out now? Because I'm
We're
only seeing 11 or 12 on an Apple podcast.
Yep. So on Patreon, you can
12
get
today.
Yep, and on Patreon you can get 2 weeks early, so you can get up to
Okay.
episode 14 on Patreon as of today of this recording.
When
so,
this one
you can get
drops,
ahead
there
of the
will be
game.
15 episodes out.
Yep. And speaking of
Gotcha.
Patreon, give a shout out to my brother Steven,
Thank
very
you.
first Patreon supporter.
You won't regret it. I don't know what I'm going to do for you, but you're not going to regret it.
Me and you can chat personally on our Patreon.
Y'all can have an argument over how your name should be spelled.
Mine's biblical, so good luck.
Yeah, his is spelled in
Stefan.
yeah, Stefan. My
Yeah.
brother's just spelled with a V. But
Yeah, it's not
once we get the Patreon following up, there is a chat room in there, so we plan to use that a lot for us to be able to communicate with people and talk
Yeah.
about show ideas and stuff like that.
Bring your
So,
craziest ideas. I don't care.
Yep, and it's just $2 a month.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
That's it, $2 a month.
It's like a
It's
cheesy roll up at Taco Bell.
I was about
Let's
to
do
say.
it.
Not anymore. Gee, Taco Bell got expensive.
I know.
everything
That's
else.
supposed to be, like McDonald's. They're supposed to be the heroes of the people, but they're not letting us down, brother.
Cheapest meal in town.
What's that?
Costco.
Yeah,
Hot
The
dog.
the hot dog and the soft drink, $1.85.
still
Yeah.
Costco,
Yeah.
hook us up.
sponsor drop.
Shameless plug.
That's
there.
right.
We're here for it.
All right.
But anyway.
Well, let's get back into
this.
the real
No,
stuff.
jinx.
Where were we heading? We were talking about
Little G gods, man.
Little
Of
G
course,
gods
that's
and
where we were.
Nephilim, and yeah, so I'm sitting here, I'm reading through where Satan came in, and the fall. It just starts out talking about the serpent.
Are we considering Satan as a little G god? As he's, or as he is
I
own?
would not think so. He's going to be
taking
be
a
a
weird-
driving.
I'm just saying we got to define
Actually,
who he is.
He
you know?
could be a
Does
driving
he have
force.
power? That's the question.
There's your
Or
shrouded reality
influence.
right there.
Does he have power?
Power or influence.
Does he have power? Yes, he has power.
He has
on
power.
Earth.
Okay.
He has
Power-
power. He has influence.
Power higher than ours?
Yes. Definitely.
I would say than he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
He would have a
Because he was-
supernatural power compared to us.
Because he was allowed to take Job and completely wreck his entire existence up until the point of near death.
within the confines
I'm
of what
saying.
God gave him.
God
Yep.
is the ultimate power,
God said you can mess with him.
but you can't kill him.
Don't do this. Yeah, and, yeah.
You can't kill him.
Took everything he had.
Yeah, the
completely.
first chapter he said don't touch him.
Okay.
So he just took everything he had.
yeah. And then
Second
it
chapter
went
he
on,
comes
yeah.
in and says, "All right, you can touch him, don't kill him."
Yeah.
Kind of
okay,
weird
okay.
because it seems like you can barter with him a little bit. You can barter with God a little
Barter
bit. And
with
he's like, does it? I mean, is that not kind of the way that's read?
I think as long as it
could.
fits within his will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But if he
Or
hadn't
was
have
it just-
originally said, he's like, yeah, okay, no, you're not doing that. And then he comes back and he's like, nah, I think I can really do it. He's like, all right, try it.
Yeah.
Is it bartering or is it just parameters?
Yeah, it was parameters in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
He said you can do this up to this thing, and then he pushed the line, and then he
Yeah.
got to it, and he said,
Barter
"All right."
may not be the right word, but I think you know what I mean by it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
He's
he
opening
kinda
up a
kept
little
coming
bit.
back, and he kept saying like, "No, I think you should let me do it." And he's like, "Okay, let's try it."
That's right.
And who was right?
Well,
Yeah.
pretty obvious he was right.
Yeah. Yep.
Job
Yeah.
just about gave in. That was a man. He's like, "What is going on?"
So that was a big part of my study this week, was trying to figure out where Satan, where Lucifer, if they're the same person, and demons fit in within all of this.
Yeah.
There's some thought that the demons that we know as of demons, like in the New Testament when Jesus cast them out of the guy, throwed him into the swine jumped over the hill. Those were the disembodied spirits of either A, the Nephilim, or B, these sons of God that were their souls was trapped in the earth.
I just had a thought about you saying is Satan and Lucifer the same person? Well, we know Satan mocks the Holy Trinity, right? What if Satan has his own Trinity that mocks the Holy Trinity?
Kind of does, because I mean, he's going to have a son. It's the Antichrist. That's to mock that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what you
And
would
instead of the Holy
necessarily
Spirit,
cause,
you got the demons.
I don't know, just
which
a
is a
thought that just
demonic
popped in my head.
spirit.
The
So, I mean,
Antichrist is going to be the son of Satan and not Satan himself.
Well, I mean, is
That's a
God,
new one to me.
Okay, you want to really get into that? Is Jesus really God?
Okay, I got you.
Okay,
I got
so,
you.
I mean,
got
you're in
you.
the same realm
Okay,
there.
yeah. The earthly embodiment of Satan will be the Antichrist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
this conversation,
But that
I think,
would
is
say
why.
that Satan could be possibly omnipresent.
No, it doesn't.
And you don't think so?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so at all.
Okay.
Me personally, I don't. I don't really have a way to combat either one of those, but I'm not equipped enough to have that conversation. But into the demon thing, 1 Corinthians 10, 19, and 20. Do I mean then that food sacrificed to an idol is anything, or that an idol is anything? No, but the sacrifices of pagans that are offered to demons, not to God. And I do not want you to participate with demons.
Mm-hmm.
So idol worship to them, bringing a spirit into an idol, was that. So that was demonic.
Yeah, they were dancing with the devil.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Paul said that to the Corinthians. He's like, hey, quit doing these freaking idol worship crap and bringing demons into your place. Stop.
Yeah.
So,
I wonder. I wonder that the reason people kept doing this is they were getting immediate results,
Yes.
and so it was like the instant gratification of doing that. It just kept that going.
Yeah.
Or if they were influenced to the point to where they were being deceived. We've talked about that with our mass psychosis and
I think
UFO talk.
That whole world back then though was way more spiritual, I think, than what we're supernatural, quote unquote.
Yeah, because they were a lot closer to it.
are you saying Old Testament time, or are you saying New Testament time? Because this is New Testament.
that
here.
will
That's New
okay.
Testament.
Maybe there were a lot of those practices that were still carried over because, possibly they don't have the same timeline than we have. They don't necessarily have the Old Testament, New Testament
Sure. Yeah,
timeline.
they
Like,
didn't.
we're looking back at. They're still carrying those old world traditions and those old ways of doing things
Sure.
right along with the progression of the church and moving into the New Testament and all that. So they're still pulling that stuff in and out. And I think a lot of it died off with Christ when after the crucifixion. There was a change. And we talked about this here several months ago, that something somewhere, it was like a switch was flipped.
Yeah.
And we went from a spiritual war kind of stuff on earth, and then it kind of moved into a little more to where we are now. If that makes my rambling makes any sense at all,
I think there's still a spiritual
there's
war going
definitely
on
still-
behind the. I mean, Ephesians talks about that.
yeah,
There is a spiritual war that is still going on. Maybe
It will
it's
be till
just
the end of time.
We're more disconnected from it.
yeah,
But yes, I do think that still goes on.
yeah.
Yeah. What did Paul call them? Principalities, powers, and principalities.
Of darkness or something, wasn't it?
I think that was his.
Well, I
term
mean,
for-
Ephesians, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against rulers
There
and
it
against authorities, against the cosmic powers over the present darkness, against spiritual forces of evil in heavenly places.
Do you remember the translation on that one?
That's probably ESV.
I think it KJV.
I
called
think it's
it,
the same. It's the same thing, just
yeah.
in
Principalities and
Not in-
powers. Yeah.
I think it's interesting you use the word cosmos.
that's cosmic. Yeah,
in that
that's-
translation. That's
that's
another
in
thing
that
that complicates
translation. It
this.
just makes everything tough.
It complicates the snot
Unless
out
you've
of
got
this.
somebody who can break down each. That's what I did with that Michael Heiser stuff. He
Yeah.
broke down things
Using
word
the
by
Hebrew.
word using the Hebrew, and it makes more sense when it's read that way.
Mm-hmm.
You start reading this, and then the KJV, and the these and thous, and the NIV, and everything's just a touch different.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
you
I mean,
just
we found it with Sons of God and
Yeah.
the
and that changes a lot.
Sons of Israel.
Children of Israel and Sons of God changes a lot.
Yeah, that's like-
because of our definition of what Sons of God is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you look, Sons of God are considered angelic beings throughout the Bible.
Yeah.
And that Israel wasn't even a thing when they.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that Israel wasn't necessarily a thing. I think it was planned to be a thing at that point. I mean, you had Abraham and you had, he was going to have many sons, as the song goes, and that was going to be Israel.
Yeah.
He was going to populate the earth pretty much from Abraham. So,
And Mount Hermon isn't it right there in Israel?
I
Yeah.
think so.
So
It's right in there. In
and
the
that's where
center,
everything
buddy.
happened. And apparently that's where the devil took Jesus to tempt him.
Mhm.
Was Mount Hermon. That's what
So
I heard.
really?
Yeah, that's what I heard in Heiser was talking about it.
Yep.
Eisner was talking
Where
about
he
Hermon.
went. Oh, where he took him up. Not where he went to fast.
Mm-mm.
No.
Where he took him.
Well, yeah.
Well, that was
That
the
was
same time.
Mount
Yeah, same
Sinai.
time. Yeah.
That was
Mount
Sinai, wasn't it?
Sinai. That was Mount Sinai.
See, we're
Mount
idiots. I don't
Hermon.
know.
We're dumb.
It's got a point. It's mountain,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's a mountain.
It's got a point.
Yeah, it was probably on top of a pyramid or something. There was grass was growing over it.
Yep.
But the reason I mentioned Mount Hermon because that's where the fallen angels supposedly came down to
Yeah,
start finding chicks.
They ascended to get their game
both
on.
wrong.
Yeah.
Get that game.
Light
We're
bulbs.
all wrong on this.
Yeah. You think they had intro music? You think like
The Mount of Temptation,
Like the-
which is generally identified
The
as
90s bowl
Mount
intro.
Quarantine. I can't even say
yeah,
that.
it's a big one.
It looks like
And annual.
annual.
Number.
I don't know. I have no idea.
The.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
We're here for your support.
Yeah, so we were both wrong on that. We
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay.
So, all right. So let's carry this somewhere different. Given what we talked about, okay. So before, you grow up in church, you hear all these stories. You think of God as a old dude sitting on a throne, big old white beard, kind of like Adam's, but not as nice. I guess.
Oh man, no, it's
But it's sitting there. You got Jesus
wrong.
there. You've got angels in the background playing their harps, doing their little thing, floating around in wings.
sounds boring as all get out, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
And then you got
Our,
people.
our preacher paints a whole different thing of it, and that's another day. But
But now that we're bringing this in,
yeah,
you've got different hierarchies. You've got
Sounds like
different-
there's work that is to be done when you're there.
yeah, and there's different levels of
Yeah.
you got God, you got Jesus sitting there next to God as God. You got these sons of God that are still there. Maybe a separate level of angels. Then you got come down.
like an elder race, like a
Man, you're just trying to take us down some. God,
a creation that existed prior to us.
Ooh.
I've
Have you
I was
have you
gonna
been
go
down
there,
that
but I
rabbit
didn't
hole?
go there.
Yeah.
Are you talking like alien spaceship?
So-
living
No.
on a
I'm
planet,
talking,
or
I'm talking about when
another
I'm talking about
Earth oh?
when
1.0.
when they came to Sodom and Gomorrah and the angels were with then the third one there was supposedly Christ, and they come to who was in there? Who was there? What was his name? In Sodom and Gomorrah? I can't remember. I've drawn a blank.
I've spaced completely. off what I'm talking
Abraham's
about.
Abraham's cousin. Anyway, he recognized them to be angels. You know, he recognized them to be different. They were a different species or a different race of, you know, set aside from man. So he recognized them from a distance. So that's kind of where that from that podcast that I was listening to was talking about that elder race, you know.
Okay.
And a way that they kind of put it into where you could think about it on your own was like Lord of the Rings with the elves versus the humans. You know, they were so much alike, but they were so much different, and they were set to be a little bit better. They were faster, they were stronger, they were smarter. They had the magical powers and all of that. So you know, look at that concept a little bit.
Where would you think this pre-race, pre-history would have happened?
That's way above my pay grade, man.
Yeah.
Y'all
Like,
all
does
need to
that-
go
I'm sorry,
listen to the
Steven.
Unseen Realm. Y'all got to. It is.
Does he touch on that in it?
Yes.
Really?
Not the elder race. He doesn't get into that necessarily.
I probably just lost all my credibility.
Nope,
Yeah.
you didn't. I'm with you. I do, and I've had this discussion with a bunch of people on the elder race thing, and I think that is definitely a possibility. I don't have enough information to be like, yep, that's definitely the thing. But he talks about Eden and that being maybe separated out and in a different place and some of that kind of stuff too. So I probably got that wrong, but yeah, just go listen to it.
It was
It's
a lot.
nuts.
It was
Yeah,
a lot.
there it
And
is.
Yep, there it is. I
Gotcha.
knew I'd think of it. I'm not a complete idiot.
I was about to say it, but I didn't want to
You're
say.
sitting with
I didn't
us.
want to be an idiot and say it wrong.
Oh, y'all didn't do the disclaimer yet.
No, I did.
That
Yeah,
we're-
it was-
I said we have 4 idiots here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad to be number 4.
So here, just throwing this out there, taking in the context of our ever expanding universe that we will never reach the end of. Could this other place be somewhere else in the cosmos, or would it have to be in heaven?
That's kind of what I was getting at.
You know?
Is there another Earth somewhere else where this is pulled from, or did this divine council and everything take place in heaven as it is in heaven?
Because with my opinion, I believe that there's a reason this universe is this huge. There's got to be. It can't just be just a random coincidence that this universe is 100 billion light years.
There could be
wide.
a bunch of reasons for that. Could just show the power of God to begin
Maybe-
with. That
maybe
I can
so.
create this whole thing.
Maybe so.
I mean,
maybe it's just
Could be that. Could be that there is something else. I mean,
right.
we're not going to know.
Nope.
Not
You
until
don't
we
think
do.
I was going to say you don't
Not
think
until
we'll ever
do.
know?
Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I believe so. We'll be.
We have entered into the speculation portion of our show.
What was this first part? What was the version before that?
was about to
The
say,
pre-speculation?
No,
We have Bible verses to go with that.
Okay.
the Bible verses are all real. Everything else is probably bullcrap. So y'all just know that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
I
ahead.
don't know. I'm lost.
This is
There you
we
go.
call this Bibletainment. That's what that is.
Yeah.
It is
we'll
fun to
know.
think
I
about.
think
Yeah.
we'll know. I think when the end comes and everything's done, our embodied spirits will be in our purest form that we were ever. If in this lifetime, whatever this lifetime was, you take that purest form that we were in, and you multiply it by God, and that's what we will be in the new world, in the new earth with the new heaven and all that. That's where I'm at on
So
that.
we're definitely not idiots. I mean, we definitely are. We definitely are idiots. We definitely are
That's the
idiots.
biggest bombshell of this whole thing.
No, we are idiots. I misspoke. Do you think this is kind of where Joseph Smith? We did the Mormon episode.
The Mormon
Yeah.
thing, the different levels of.
No.
Yeah, the different levels of
I think
heavens and
Joseph
stuff.
Smith was pulling it out of his butt and throwing it against the
I
wall.
I think
I
he's smoking
think-
some shrooms.
I think Joseph Smith was
Smoking
on.
shrooms.
Smoking them.
Yeah,
Can you do that? Is that how you do drugs?
I want to.
Do you think pot is cool? Do you think smoking drugs is cool?
How many weeds have you taken today?
Smoking shrooms. That's it.
I think Joseph Smith was a con man.
Yeah.
A very, very intelligent con man, and he was able to surround himself with people that he was able to convince. And I'm going to get hate mail and death threats off
Dude,
this.
we've already,
here's
you're gonna get it
Here's
second.
my-
We've already
yeah.
got it first. Don't worry.
Yeah.
here's a
I'll
thought on
forward
that.
it straight to your email.
Yeah.
Here's the thought on that. I mean, the people in the Old Testament were worshiping these false idols, right? What if these beings he was talking to were demonic in nature?
You think he was tapping into the spiritual?
I mean, I'm not saying.
You're
I mean,
talking about
I'll-
Joseph Smith
But Joseph
here, we're
Smith,
still-
yeah,
Yeah.
Joseph
Okay.
Smith.
Yeah.
Like
Saying-
they were using him as a deception,
Yeah,
a form of deception
yeah, to
to
spread
pull
it,
people away from God.
right.
Yeah.
From the truth.
And then that was one thing that I wanted to say is I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's
you,
fine. That's
but
fine. I'm interrupting everybody else.
all the little G God stuff, everything is a complete and total distraction and separation to keep us away from God, to keep us disconnected from God, occupied with ourselves, and to prolong this existence on earth. Because when we all get to the point where we believe, that's when it's over.
And
And if they can deceive us and spread it out, it just keeps this thing rolling.
that's the only power they have.
That is the only power they have, is the power of deception.
So they're gonna ride that train as long as they can.
Yes, sir.
Hang on the single God. Hang on the single
The big
Elohim.
G God.
Big G.
Big
Yeah.
G.
Stay away from the plurals.
Yeah,
That it really doesn't matter.
don't quarrel in the plurals. You know what I'm saying?
There it is. Daggone, Connor, you're so good at this.
T-shirt idea.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dude, this was fun. I'm glad we had 4 of us in here because we needed it for sure.
Thank you guys for having me.
yeah,
I
I
hope
wanna-
I didn't completely destroy what you're doing here, but I've
No.
enjoyed
We've already
it.
done that.
Yeah, we're
this
super
is
glad you were
awesome.
here.
Don't worry about
Thanks
it.
for
I
coming.
love it. Thank you for
coming
having
in.
me. It's an honor.
Yep, thanks for coming in. ShroudedRealities.com. Go there, tell us how dumb we are.
Get a shirt.
Get a shirt, buy some stickers, and then go to social media and
Hug
start
your
the
mom for me.
discussion. Hug your
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah. Hug your mom.
Tell
Why
your
you gotta
mama
talk about
said
my
hey.
mom? Every
wanna
time I
talk about
see you,
your
talk about my
mom.
mom. Jeez.
Yeah.
Love you, mama. Anyway, let's drop it. Steven, Adam, Connor, Joey, and Ruby, the podcast dog. Appreciate
ya.
it.
Thanks, guys.